Fred here, and welcome back to the Gear Obsession channel. In this episode, we will be taking a look at the Sentinel M16 mechanical telescoping mod clone from FastTech. So stay tuned. Yes, after waiting over 2 weeks, I finally got another one of my orders from FastTech. It's sort of hit and miss. Sometimes you'll get it in about 2 weeks. Sometimes it might take 2 months. That's just the nature of FastTech, but that's why you're getting the great prices with the added risk. Anyway, this is a clone of a Grand Vapor mechanical telescoping mod, except this one came with the amazing low price of $16.22 because it's a clone. And this is a brass one, and you know, I really wanted brass. In the Navy there was a lot of brass stuff on the ship that we always had to shine, so this sort of brings back those memories. But you can see it's a telescoping mod, and I'll tell you, I just felt like I wanted a brass mechanical mod. Here's the thing I sort of feel about clone stuff before I go any further. This is a rough clone of a mechanical device from Grand Vapor that I believe costs like $190. And the thing is, it's mechanical. This is a battery holder with an on-off spring switch and a 510 socket in it. I can't imagine too many reasons why a mechanical mod should cost that much. So on the other hand, I think it's pretty piss poor that they put Grand Vapor, where is it? Right there, for the love of Pete, focus, there we go. I think it's messed up that they put Grand Vapor on here. They shouldn't. And I think on the real one there's writing in here, not up here. And it also, I think in certain versions they have some nice writing, Sentinel M16 over there. So it's not an exact copy, but they should put the name of the company that they're cloning on there. I think that's a little messed up. But anyway, let's go ahead and take a close look. Here's the mod. You can sort of break it down in a couple of pieces. There's the head, one of the cylinders, the middle part right there. By the way, whoops, oh, for the love of Pete, you can see it has a hole there. Whoops, you can see that it has a hole there and a hole there. Actually, it has how many holes? 1, 2, it has 3 holes in it. And that's so the battery can vent if it starts swelling, or something goes wrong or whatever. And you have the bottom piece. Actually, it breaks up into 5 pieces. And then you have the tail switch. Spring loaded. It's not any fancy magnetic deal right there. And you can see it has a rubber gasket. And the rubber gasket serves the following purpose. The battery is sitting on that rubber instead of on the contact, which would come up and hit the battery like that. See? So that's its purpose. And it makes it so as you're tightening this up, it's that rubber that's pushing up and making everything tight. Excuse me. Anyway, this button can be adjusted on how far it sticks out. See how I'm putting my finger right here? I could turn this, and you can see how far it's sticking out right there. There's a big gap. You can make it so it comes in, that's about where I like it, right there, like that. See that? Because if you have it too far out, like this, if you sort of push it sideways like this, it gets caught. See how it gets caught right there? So you sort of want this sort of in the body just a little bit so it doesn't get caught, sort of like that. Okay, it also has a locking ring, which I can't mess around with right now until I put it all back together. Alright, so it's telescoping, a very typical telescope. For the head, the pin is spring loaded so it could self-adjust. You can see how this comes out there, so you can see how the pin moves in there just a little bit. There we go. You can see how that does its thing. So let's go ahead and put this back together. The threads are pretty good. There is one issue with it, which I will show you once I put this together. I don't think it matters which way that goes. Threads go all the way through. And we'll put this on here. Tighten that up. Let me see if I can show you the locking ring. If I could get this tight enough. There we go. So the locking ring is not reversed. So you can see the issue that if I keep on doing this, it's going to start unscrewing the cap. So it's not reverse threaded. But the locking ring obviously works like a locking ring should. It keeps you from pressing the button. So other than not being reverse threaded, it is pretty functional. When I'm taking this back apart, because the button moved a little bit, I wanted it in just a little bit more. And that's one of the things, even with the battery in it, if you're pressing it and turning it a little bit, it will sort of adjust itself a little bit. So there's another issue. Now let's talk batteries, different batteries, and what this looks like when you put different batteries in it. If I put this one in, which has a button on the top, and we'll throw that one in here, I'm going to move this guy to about there. I like to try to keep the vent holes, you know, open. There we go. I'm going to put this in here. And what you are going to notice, oops, it's not adjusting. It doesn't close all the way. That's how much it closes right there. And it has a little bit of play right there. So the threads are just a little bit on the loose side, you know, as far as play. But it's not a biggie, unless little things like that bug you. Now, if you get a 18350 battery, right, 18350 battery that has no button on it, like this one, you could actually, get this mod to telescope all the way down into one solid piece. And I think that's pretty slick. I like how that looks, just like that. And of course, it's these two pieces cut together. There is no play. And I am just dropping crap today. What I'm going to do now is just show you sort of what it looks like if you put an 18650 battery in here. So you get an idea how big it looks. And alright, and what that whole setup looks like. Alright, go ahead and hide the threads just a little bit like that. And that's basically what it looks like with the 18650 battery in there. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to leave this in here like this, because we are going to put a atomizer on it. This atomizer I also, whoops, this is not the one. This is the atomizer that I bought with FastTech at the same time that I got this. And let me tell you a little bit about this. Here's my first rebuildable dripping atomizer, and it works pretty good. It's time for me to rebuild it. And one of the things I don't like about it is this sort of moves a little bit. So when I was looking for a replacement, I found the SM30 RDA right here, and you see how the drip tip sort of widens. It's less prone to rocking in there, because that kind of bugs me. The other thing I like about this particular atomizer is it has little thumb things to tighten the coil on, whereas this guy, you gotta have an Allen wrench, a little teeny Allen wrench that when it comes time to change it, you better know where you put your Allen wrench, because you won't be able to change your coil. I'm just gonna set this aside. It's a mess, and I need to rebuild it, clean it, rebuild it anyway. So let's put this together, and we'll try this whole deal out here. We'll see what this whole setup looks like. Real quick. Actually, I'm going to loosen this up a little bit so the floating pin can get pushed down in this just a little bit, and then we'll tighten this back up so we have good contact, just like that. Pretty cool looking. Okay, so let's go ahead and vape it and see how well it all works. Okay, we're almost there. I forgot to tell you how much the SM30 RDA rebuildable dripping atomizer costs at FastTech. $3.95. Pretty neat. Anyway, today we are going to toot on some Halo because I always am pitching the Johnson Creek, and I do want you to know that I do try and trust some others. This is Voodoo, and it is zero nicotine. I do not use nicotine. So let's do that drippy thing. I am going to drop 3 in there. Uno, dos, tres, and close that up. And put this on here. And let's see how good this sucker vapes. Voodoo. When I feel like something a little bit sweeter, and less tobacco flavory, this soda is my go-to. And I'll tell you what, it's about over half empty. I might have to start thinking about ordering some more. But it has a fruity, minty, weird kind of flavor. I don't know. I'm very bad at tasting things. I could never be a good wine taster, let alone taster of these delicious liquids. I'm telling you, that's a pretty good vape that didn't cost a lot of money. So vaping, you see a lot of these videos where people are spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars and spending an awful lot of time doing all kinds of things, and they're blowing vape just like you just saw me, and it doesn't have to cost that much money. You don't have to spend all that money. I'm not saying that any of that stuff is bad. You do what you want to do with your money. It's a free country here in the US. So this setup here, $16 and $4, it's a little over $20 for this whole deal. The thing already came built, the atomizer, and it's just a single coil. It's nothing fancy, and it works great. And you saw how small this got with the 18350 battery. It's could almost be stealthy, just so you can sort of see what that looks like. I'm just going to take the battery out and close this down and show you how small this would have gotten if I could actually just throw it in there. I think we'll do that just so you could see that this could be a little stealthy kind of setup here if you want it to be, and it still looks good. It has the brass in it. I love the brass. I really do. I think it's so cool. So anyway, let's go ahead, and you can see how tiny this whole thing is, and you can get even a smaller atomizer there, and it's very stealthy. Pretty good setup. Sentinel M16 clone from FastTech. Highly recommended. It gets a 9 out of 10. It loses a point just because it has that little shaky thing sometimes, just a little teeny bit. But I mean, if you clamp things down really good, you can get rid of most of it. But 9 out of 10. and it looks really cool. And if you're a Navy sailor like me, and you just get the urge to start shining some brass, this is definitely for you. Okay, well, thank you very much. I want to do a shout out real quick to John Null. That's JNull0 for the channel. That's JNULL0. Check him out on YouTube. It's one of my favorite channels. You should check it out. He's a homesteading genius. I'm telling you, don't miss a video from this guy. Okay, well, thank you very much for joining me here at the Gear Obsession channel. I really appreciate every friend, viewer, subscriber, and who else? You. And I hope you have a great weekend. Take care. Bye. Helps if I turn the mic on.